Let's call it the battle of the geriatrics. Well, for former President Donald Trump has been saying to Joe Biden for months now, let's debate. The former president is the nominee. The current president is the Democratic nominee. So what's going to happen? Well, the debate is on. In a 13-second video that was probably clipped and edited about 7 to 8 times, Joe Biden finally said to Donald Trump, "You're on. Have a look."
Donald Trump lost 2 debates to me in 2020. And since then, he hadn't shown up for debate. Now he's acting like he wants to debate me again. Well, make my day, pal. I'll even do it twice. So let's pick the dates, Donald. I hear you're free on Wednesdays.
So now, Brian, it's been a long time since President Trump has been saying to President Biden, "Come on, I've got you. Let's have our do-over." Biden has finally said, "All right, anytime, any place." And then he threw in dig there to Donald Trump saying, "I hear you're free on Wednesdays." That, of course, is to suggest because Donald Trump is on trial in the state of New York for very questionable reasons, but Wednesdays are the day off in the court. Polling shows Trump is leading. Polling also shows that it's a very tight race. So finally, a debate amongst the geriatrics.
Well, I love Mitt Romney's comment about this. He described it as being like watching the two old men on the Muppet Show.
Yeah.
And I think there's a bit of
Yelling from the gallery.
Yeah, what's their name? Waldorf and Statler. Look, right now I'm looking at 270towin.com, and it's Trump with a lead on the average of the last 6 national polls. He has a lead of 0.8%. Now, that's not the important part. The important part is you look at Arizona. He is up by 4 points in Arizona. He is up by 6 points in Georgia. He is up by 2 points in Michigan, 7 points in Nevada. Pennsylvania, he's up by 3 points over Biden. Wisconsin, it's 0.2% for Biden. It's 47-47. That's a statistic tie. But basically, these guys, Trump is leading in the swing states, and it's very tight on the national front. So a debate might shake things up. Despite all Donald Trump's court problems, he is a real challenger. And I would say that with these numbers, with the swing states the way they are, he would win the Electoral College if an election were held today. My advice to Democrats for months has been, stop trying to indict Trump. Stop trying to sue him in court. He's one court case of winning from sweeping the Electoral College.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then, that's the interesting part at all. There's so many interesting elements to this, Lorrie. All the Trump haters, the never Trumpers, they're all out there in full force, doing what they can to stop Trump from even, getting to November, not the least of which are all these court cases that Brian mentioned. The one that's ongoing, of course, is in the state of New York, and a lot of questions surrounding that with questionable questionable witnesses. But the other 3 big cases have all been delayed in different instances, different states. In Georgia, the documents case in Florida, all of these things are delayed. But it doesn't seem to be hurting President Trump. He recently did a giant rally with up towards, it was reportedly 80,000 people in the state of Blue, New Jersey. Whereas Joe Biden, is struggling with the teleprompter. And so did Joe Biden have to finally do this and say yes to a debate?
I think there's no question. If, as a lot of Democrats had thought, as they did think, that by now Trump would be so discredited, so caught up in these legal battles, that the American people had decided by a good margin. And you have to be careful about polls, because it's not who gets the most votes, it's who wins the most states in terms of the Electoral College. And as Brian said, in the swing states, Trump appears to have a lead. So to me, the fact that Biden's doing this is an acknowledgement that Trump is probably ahead at the moment, probably has a political advantage. And so, but I'm not sure how much these debates, I could be wrong. There could be the famous moment where everything changes, which has happened from time to time in Canadian prime ministerial debates and in American presidential. But both of these men are known commodities. If you're in the United States and you haven't abandoned Trump by now, you're not abandoning him. And the other thing is that while I'm not a fan of Mr. Trump, I think that there's been a lack of analysis of why. Why is someone who political history and political science would tell us should be underwater by now is competitive to be the next president of the United States? And I think that has to do with he channels the disillusionment and anger that many Americans have because they're not part of the American dream and because they get talked down to by the chattering classes. And the traditional strength of the Democratic Party was to be able to appeal to those people. They were the party of change. They were the party of reform. They were the party that was going to help the people who weren't part of the American dream. And I think the Democratic Party is no longer that. I think it's been, to a large extent, taken over by the antithesis of those people, the chattering classes. And so, but having said that, there should always be presidential debates. I hope there'll be more than what's been agreed to. But to me, if you're looking at it from a political analysis, it means Biden's in trouble.
So, Brian, Donald Trump has yet to choose who his VP nominee will be, and we're expecting that in a maybe a month or so time, because there will be two. There's supposed to be two debates, one in June and then one again in September, right before advanced polling begins. The Democrats have always had, what shall we say, trepidation when it comes to their VP, Kamala Harris. She has proven to be a political liability. She has not done a very good job. So Democrats were scrambling and thinking, Joe is not doing well either. How could we possibly put her as the VP? There is still some speculation that Gavin Newsom, the California governor, may very well be the one heartbeat away, and that he might be the VP running mate for Biden this time around. Who knows? But if debate performance is poor in June for Joe Biden, the Democrats are left scrambling.
Look, what the Democrats should have done months ago is make Gavin Newsom their nominee. Just have Joe Biden step aside and put Gavin Newsom in. I can debate and disagree about his policies in California and what he's done to that state, but I also know a lot of people in California who think he's done a good job. And even people who lean on the conservative side on a lot of other things say, yeah, he could be president and I could support him. He's would have far more strength than Joe Biden. I don't see him accepting the #2 banana job going in to replace Kamala Harris, who, if you wonder why Americans don't trust her, my friend Stu Bergier at the Glenn Beck Show has been doing this thing for the last 4 years. It's just brilliant. He takes unedited clips of Kamala Harris talking, giving a speech, and he sets it to music like the old Jack Handey routine from Saturday Night Live, and he calls it Veep Thoughts. And you listen to it and you think, what is she talking about? I have no clue. And again, unedited. So she is not going to help Biden in this. If Biden looks old and weak in these debates, that's only going to help Trump. If nothing big changes in the polls, there's still going to be those swing voters. And that's how you win elections. And Biden isn't looking strong at the moment. Trump could come in and collect enough of those swing voters to easily win. Kamala Harris, not going to help Joe Biden. Who knows who Trump will appoint? Obviously not the governor of North Dakota, who shot her puppy and is claiming she met with Kim Jong-un.
Governor Noem, no,
yes,
she's
gone.
out of the running. I'm looking more that it might be Senator Tim Scott from the state of South Carolina. But Lorrie,
great guy for sure.
Last word to you on this one, Lorrie. This could be interesting defining moments. I mean, either you're in the Trump camp, or for the over 76 million people that did vote for him in 2020, a lot of them are sort of seeing what's going on and thinking, I don't know, I don't like the fact that they're using all this lawfare against him. I don't like the fact that his main political opponent is trying to put him in jail. That their interpretation of that. And even for those who despise Trump and are not even necessarily Democrats, they might look at him and say, I don't like what's going on and how they've been treating this guy. He's speaking more to me because he's talking about the economy. He's talking about the illegal border crossings. He's talking about the drug issues. He's talking about the things that are affecting my family. It spells a lot of challenges, certainly for the Democrats, but the Democrats did very well in the midterms because the number one issue that they kept bringing up was abortion. And so how does that sort of get itself revealed in a very tight debate setting when nuance is such a significant part of that argument?
Yeah, look, to me, abortion should be a winner for the Democrats. I mean, you look at what some of these states are doing. It's to me, it's appalling. Taking away rights from women that they've had for now. I know it was it's Roe versus Wade and state versus, but no, some of these decisions are terrible. But again, to me, it's a flaw in the Democratic strategy. For example, their relentless focus on the Stormy Daniels case, which is the current one going on, which is very salacious and all that, but it's not illegal to pay somebody hush money not to talk about an affair. The only issue there is, did they use campaign funds? And I think what may be happening in terms of why it's not hurting Trump, think back to Bill Clinton and the Monica Lewinsky affair. People, certainly the Democrats, said it's just about sex, right? It's just about sex. And I think that the danger of focusing so much on the Stormy Daniels case is that even though the issue is were campaign funds illegally used to suppress that story, I think a lot of people maybe, I don't know what the jurors are thinking, but I think a lot of people may come to the conclusion it's just about sex. And again, to me, it's all the flaw of, you're not going to beat Donald Trump in court. You've got to beat him at the ballot box. And I don't see a great strategy from the Democrats for beating him at the ballot box.
Well, the debate watch parties are being organized and people will be watching with great interest. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel and go to the TorontoSun.com. You'll find commentary and coverage there you will not find anywhere else.